sky above the valley did not belong to the birds. It belonged to the gridlock. Our once quiet neighborhood is no more and has been transformed into a hazardous, 24/7 aerial siege zone because the FAA and local port authorities refuse to reroute low-flying aircraft over nearby unpopulated desert land. Instead, they choose to subject residential neighborhoods to a constant 82 decibels to 120 decibel acoustic bombardment, an intensity 1 trillion times greater than the human hearing threshold, violating statutory safety intentions. There is a reason our communities are left completely defenseless. The federal government deliberately stripped away our environmental protections. Under the guise of modernization, the FAA Reauthorization Act was weaponized to aggressively fast-track private aviation projects by abusing public airspace. It allowed the FAA to completely bypass strict environmental laws, stripping down mandatory noise studies and creating sweeping exemptions to push flights over our heads without community consent. Most infuriating of all, thanks to a complicit Congress, FAA squandered $45 billion of our hard-earned taxpayer money to bankroll this system, muffling any opposition. This relentless exposure to low-altitude flights, toxic pollution, and engine noise has sparked a devastating and visible public health crisis, leaving residents to suffer from documented nervous system damage, PTSD, chronic sleep deprivation, cognitive decline, and permanent, agonizing hearing damage and pulsatile tinnitus at nights. Despite hundreds of thousands of formal complaints, federal and local government officials have hidden behind administrative cover-ups, systematically ignoring the community, while maintaining a deliberately dysfunctional grievance system that actively suppresses First Amendment rights. Most sinister of all, citizen advocates who speak out are met with aggressive, targeted retaliation from abusive airports, crooked politicians, practicing pilots, aerobatic touring planes, and private military contractors who perform dangerous, noise-strafing low and repeated passes over homes as a form of domestic intimidation, cruelly violating our constitutional protections and destroying our health, our sanity, and home sanctuaries. Today, our heavily impacted communities face an invisible, devastating public health crisis. The relentless 24-hour acoustic bombardment has transformed homes from sanctuaries into an inescapable hellhole of stunts, toxic pollution, and war sounds. Behind closed doors, many neighbors are suffering from documented nervous system damage, PTSD, exhaustion, chronic sleep deprivation, cognitive decline, and irreversible, painful pulsatile tinnitus, a constant, agonizing echoing of their own heartbeat driven by the relentless aviation noise. This video exposes how regulatory agencies and local governments choose silence and cover-ups over public protection, enabling a 24/7 aerial siege above our homes. It reveals how community pleas are met with deception, retaliation, government-enabled harassment, and jaw-dropping lies. And more lies, false claims that you are the only one complaining, or there are no planes. It shows how politicians turn a blind eye to severe physical and neurological trauma, while the FAA callously rubber stamps this permanent suffering as having no significant impact. The human toll tells a completely different story. In the meantime, unpopulated land exists right outside the city limits, yet they refuse to reroute the flights. Instead, pilots execute repeated low passes over noise-sensitive zones, while FAA sends low-flying planes to circle the entire length of the city at low altitudes to deliberately target citizen advocates and ruin our environment. This is not a dystopian scene from a horror movie. It is the grim daily reality for 91 aviation-impacted communities across America, including right here in Las Vegas. We are forced to endure hazardous, inhumane living conditions, fueled by the FAA's belligerent abuse of the American taxpayer. What makes this crisis truly egregious is that it is actively enabled by members of the U.S. Congress, who have deliberately refused to pass any meaningful legislation to protect citizens and reform air travel.